Welcome back to Sasquatch Theory. On this episode, we sit down with Rick from St. Louis, who shares an incredible and chilling series of encounters from witnessing a group of UFOs hovering over the cattle fields of Fredericktown, Missouri. The UFOs were encountered off of Highway 67, and Rick claims the UFOs were coming from the Silver Mines recreation area. Rick has also had terrifying experiences with Ouija boards and other strange phenomena at his cabin. Rick's story ties together UFOs, the paranormal, and possible Bigfoot activity in one of Missouri's most mysterious hotspots. This is a story of fear, survival, and secrets kept for decades. You don't want to miss it. At the end of the video, I will share some of the photos that Rick sent over to me so you guys can check it out and let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. If you are listening to this podcast on Spotify or some other podcast platform, I urge you to check out the YouTube channel, as there are many research videos and things that you won't find on the podcast. Also, you can check out my Facebook and Instagram. There are things posted there that don't necessarily go up on YouTube or Spotify. If you guys can, purchase some merchandise, make a thanks donation, or donate to the PayPal. I really appreciate it, and it keeps the channel rolling. If you have a Bigfoot or cryptid encounter you would like to share with me here on Sasquatch Theory, feel free to get in touch with me sometime, and I would certainly like to have you as a guest on the show. With all that being said, let's dive into Rick's encounters and experiences here on Sasquatch Theory. All right, Rick, welcome to Sasquatch Theory. How are you doing today?
Oh, pretty good so far.
Good.
How about yourself?
I'm doing excellent. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. Rick, if you would, tell me a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and your experiences from the very beginning, please.
Well, I'm originally from St. Louis. Lived most of my life there. Then after the kids moved out, me and the wife moved out and got farther out in the country. But we bought a piece of property along the way, and we've had it for about 21 or 2 years, because we're hunter and fisher people, and we've loved it. We got a cabin down there we've been working on for 20 years, and about 73 acres, and we love that. But we just spend our weekends down there. But now we both retired, we're spending more time down there. And so we've had some strange things happen there. But what I'd like to talk about first off is one in about 1990 or 91, my brother, my son, and myself were in Fredericktown visiting our parents, which are now deceased, both of them. But we were leaving that night, and it was dark. And I suppose it probably winter time. I had to get my son back so he'd go to school next morning. So we tried to and we both had to work, me and my brother. And so we were trying to get back a little early. But we got on 67, Highway 67, right at the Fredericktown exit or entrance to the highway, where the Walmart is now, right next to the Walmart. But the Walmart wasn't there then. It was on the other side of town. So it was real dark back there, though. There wasn't big gas stations or anything there. And we started driving up Highway 67, and we looked off where it's now Black River Electric's out there. Back then it was a farm field with cows. And I don't remember that much about it, but I just remember always was cows out there. But we were driving along there up the highway towards Pilot Knob or Knob Lick, towards Farmington. And we looked off to the side to the left, out that field is, and we saw probably 6, 7, what I call flying saucers. And they were hovering over the cattle field. And they're kind of almost a silhouette. The sun's going down and you're catching them hovering. They weren't flying fast. They were just hovering across that field. And we're talking, we're going real slow. There's nobody on the highway late that night. Back then, there just wasn't anybody on the highway hardly at all. And until they built the Walmart and everything. And we were driving up, and I looked over and saw one on the right side of the road headed north. There was a flying saucer hovering over the side of the road. So I'm pulling over. I told my brother, and I pulled over, and me and him got out. I told my son, I go, stay in there. I was afraid this just may beam you up, and take my son. So I told my brother, let's get out and see what's happening here. So we got out and we walked underneath of it, which wasn't far from us, and stood underneath of it. And I'm guessing maybe 300 feet, 400 feet possibly. It was real close. You could see everything about it. And it looked just like the flying saucers you see in the movies. And it was shaped just like that. It looked like it was some kind of a muddle. And it had lights all around, colored lights, different colors all the way around where the saucer, but it had different color lights. It almost looked like there were windows or something, but I would say they were lights more than anything else. And it just hovered there and just sat right over us and didn't make any noise whatsoever. And didn't have any wind. And we stayed there for probably 5 to 10 minutes underneath it. And so I started getting scared. Like, we better get out of here. It started getting freaky. And so we got in the car and drove on off, and we didn't see anything after that. But that was my flying saucer story. And it's the absolute God's truth.
Yeah, that's incredible. I believe you. And I've been on that highway many times going to my Bigfoot research areas. And there's a lot of Bigfoot activity in Fredericktown, Missouri. And I've often wondered if there's a connection with the cryptid creatures and these flying saucers. I think it's weird that there was so much Bigfoot activity there and also the people reporting UFOs. I've heard that there's somewhere deep out in the Mark Twain, people were seeing UFOs coming out of like an underground base, and people claim that they've seen it. So, man, that makes sense.
Yes, it does, totally. And these saucers that were hovering over that field were coming from what I would say silver mines. You know where that is?
Yeah, absolutely.
Silver Mines Park.
I've heard Bigfoot reports there.
They seem like they were.
Wow. So they were coming from that area, from silver mines. The UFO that you saw, did it seem like it was coming from that area? Is that what you're saying?
It seemed like they were coming from that direction.
Wow. Okay.
Slowly going over the cattle field.
Yeah. I wonder if these things eat beef, because I've heard a lot of UFO reports where they like take cows up into the ships, elk, deer. And, it makes you wonder, because you saw these things hovering above a cattle field. Exactly.
Yeah, I have that same feeling. But it seems like nowadays it should go for feral hogs. They probably got a lot more of them.
Yeah, absolutely. The UFO that you saw hovering above the highway close to you, did it move from the cattle fields towards you, or did it just appear there?
Just the ones that were on the cattle field were moving. The one that we stood underneath just sat there.
Wow.
Just right above our heads, maybe 300 feet or so.
Yeah. And how big?
Just sat there.
How big do you think it was? Was it like the size of a Volkswagen, the size of like a huge airplane?
Probably about the size of a home swimming pool, something like that, maybe twice that big.
Mm-hmm.
The above ground pool, the round ones are like 28 feet wide. I'd say maybe twice that. Because I had a pool at that time, and that's how I thought it out.
Yeah. And with the lights that you saw, did it seem like you were able to see like more detail off the craft?
I could see that it shined and looked like metal, and I could see the lights on it very clearly. And that's about all. We just sat and stared at it. Me and my brother were just like, can you believe it? And we're both talking. Well, years later, we talked to My family didn't know about it, and we didn't go tell the police or anything that night because we had to be home. And I was embarrassed, you know. Ain't nobody gonna believe me if I tell them this. So we went on home, and then years later at a Christmas party where our family was gathered, me and my brother go, we're going to tell everybody something, and we made an announcement and said, we just want to tell you this before we die, you know. And we told them the story at the Christmas party, and like nobody believed us. I could just tell by the way they were rolling their eyes and stuff, you know. But whatever, I wanted to get it out before we died. Later on, my brother got stage 4 cancer just 2 years ago. And we sat and told another group about that experience because he wanted to make sure that we told somebody in our family. So we told them again. And but anyhow, we prayed for my brother, had my whole churches praying for him and everything. And I'm telling you, it was a miracle. He came back, and they couldn't find cancer in him. He's weak now. He's like 78 years old, but he's weak, but he's still alive. 2 years later, when they said he was going to die, stage 4 cancer.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. And I got a family member going through the same thing. Do you feel like the encounter with this craft maybe caused cancer due to the radiation that is exposed when you have these types of encounters?
Well, I didn't ever think about that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had prostate cancer not long after that. Actually, well, I mean, probably 20 some years later, but I don't think it had anything to do with that.
Yeah, that was actually going to be one of the questions that I asked. Did you guys get sick, experience cancer after this encounter? And before I could even ask, you mentioned it. I don't know if it's connected to it because exposure to so many things can cause it, such as like cell phones, technology, foods, and chemicals. I mean, that's hard to say, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I never thought of it as being the cause of cancer to me and my brother.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, if they're coming from another planet or traveling through space or even underground, there's a lot of radiation exposure there, and a lot of people claim getting cancer after they have an encounter with a craft like this. The craft that you described, it reminds me of the fair ride, the zero gravity ride, or I think they call it the graviton. Kind of reminds me.
Where's that at?
Like, you know, like at the county fairs, like it's a ride there. Yeah. And it spins around. And when you get in it, you can't move because of the gravity.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
We were just at Silver Dollar City just recently, and we rode one of the roller coasters. I can't think of the name of it. Anyhow, we rode it like to tore my guts out, man. I mean, I was like sick the rest of the day because of the gravity thing, you know, no gravity thing.
Yeah.
And, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And what color were the lights on the craft?
Different colors, multicolors. And me and my brother both agreed on that one. That people were asking us a question at the Christmas party. They were multicolored lights. And the craft was silver color. And looked just like a flying saucer out of Close Encounters, you know, the small ones.
Yeah. Well, I believe you. Did you notice any missing time? Do you think you guys were abducted when that happened and maybe they brought you back and you can't remember it? Have you recalled any strange experiences like later on in life?
I do not. Because I knew about what time it was. I had to get home by like 9 or so to get my son to bed so he can go to school the next day. And I don't really remember anything like that.
Yeah, and your son saw it as well?
Or anything, yeah. Say that again?
Your son saw the craft as well?
He saw it from inside the car. He saw the ones hovering over the field, the cow field. He saw those, and he could only see from the car what he could look up from inside the car because I wasn't going to let him out. They tried to take him, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be worried about that as well.
But he remembers it, though. He remembers it. He goes, we saw something. That's the way he said it when he asked him. Yeah. He's 44 years old then, so 45, maybe 43 now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you guys are all firm believers of UFOs, right?
Well, I've always been interested in them all my life, but but I'm also Christian, so I want to go along with what the Bible says, at least, the best I can.
And what do you think they are?
The ones I read about, some of them seem totally demonic, And then I've heard preachers like Jack Van Impe used to say they're vehicles for angels. The preacher Jack Van Impe.
Mm-hmm.
Vehicles for angels, and I don't know if I don't think I believe that. I wouldn't think angels would need a vehicle, But,
right. Well, it kind of reminds you of like Ezekiel when he's describing the flying craft or God coming down on his throne with the cherubim angels.
Does it remind me of that, you say?
Yeah, well, I'm saying it reminds me of that, but I don't know if that's describing a UFO or just God's presence in general.
Yeah, I don't know if I totally understand your question.
Oh, no, I was just saying it, like the Bible describes encounters like this, and it's hard to say if they're talking about UFOs or something different. But also, there's so many planets out there in the universe that the Bible doesn't list them all, and the universe is just so vast. So who's to say that there's not life on other planets?
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I know about Ezekiel and the flying wheels and stuff like that, and I just don't have any real argument for any of the things. I just I don't know. I just can't leave that alone. If it's God's deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And what else have you experienced throughout your life?
Well, I'll tell you what. One of my first ones was I was a little boy, about 5 or 6 years old. I grew up in St. Louis, North St. Louis, and we were pretty much poor neighborhood, and most of the people there were like poverty level. And we lived in a trailer court. We lived in the house in front of the trailer court, but the trailer court used our basement with washers and dryers, and they had bathrooms down there too. Some of the old trailers didn't even have bathrooms. They'd come down there and go in our basement, and they had an outside door. I was down there with my mom one day. I was probably 5 or 6 or 7. And I had toys down there, so when she'd be doing the wash and stuff, I could play on the floor with the toys. So I was playing over in one corner by myself, and she was over in the other corner of the basement doing her wash. And I looked over, and this all metal car, was one of my favorites, was sitting over by itself. And it doesn't have it's old time. I mean, these cars, this is 1960 I'm talking about. And it was old then, this car. And so it was just a metal shell. Didn't have no engine in it, no nothing, no batteries. And it drove from the side of the basement all the way over to me in a half circle and drove over to me. And the headlights came on along the way and shined. And there was no headlights that shined. There was painted headlights. And it lit up like headlights on a car and drove over to me and sat in front of me. I tried to tell my mom. She didn't believe it. So, sure. So I've never been, the only person who believes is my wife. And, but whatever, that's what I seen. I was about, what I said, 5 or 6, about 1960. I'm 70 now. I was born in 55, so I was pretty young then.
Yeah.
So that's one. Then when I got about, I'd say 11 or 12 or something, we had a Thanksgiving party at our house, get together. My brothers and all, I had 3 brothers, and they bring their families and everything. And they brought a Ouija board. I'm like, I didn't know what they were, and they were telling us, we can answer questions, or they answer questions for you and all this. So we played the Ouija board at the Thanksgiving dinner afterwards. And when they were all leaving, they go, I go, what are you going to do with the Ouija board? I go, we'll put it up in your closet and we can use it again whenever we come over. So they put it up in my closet, and I was always fascinated with all kinds of stuff like that. So when everybody was gone, I didn't think it was bad. So I got it out and I started playing the Ouija board by myself. and that plants it and everything and move. For me, I mean, you'd probably do it for anybody. I hope not. I don't want anybody to use it. This is a warning to you out there. That thing started moving itself and telling me and talking to me through the Ouija board. And then a few years after that, well, I used it for a couple of years probably. I got in a book club that was Psychic Phenomena Book Club, but I didn't even know what Psychic Phenomena was. So, and it was like came out of a scout book. I was a Boy Cub Scout. And it came out of there. I mailed it, and they sent them in brown, these books, the Psychic Phenomenon Book Club. They sent you the books in brown papers, so I guess so your parents wouldn't see it. But I didn't know why they did it. And so I got into the book club. I mowed lawns. I had my own lawn mowing business, so I had my own money to buy stuff. I was probably 11, 12 by then. And my first book I got was like astrology. And that wasn't too bad, it didn't seem. I read some of it. I wasn't really interested in it. Then the next one I got was something like, maybe white magic. And that was pretty cool. And then the next one I got was heavier stuff, like black magic. And they were just working their way up, seducing me. Like the Bible says, the seduction. And then the last book I got came, and it had the goat's head on the front of it, and it said Satanism. And it freaked me out. And at the same time, I'm using that. I'm making magic wands, and I'm doing the Ouija boards. I'm only 11, 12, 13. We moved from there when I was 14, so I had to be within that range. And I seen little critters around my bed. And I'd call my mom, told her to come in. She'd think I had a fever or something. She'd give me a baby aspirin and sit with me till I fell asleep. It's like, she didn't get it. Nobody got it because I was living it, But anyhow, that's my experiences with that. So there's my warning. Don't ever pick up a Ouija board for nothing. And every time we see one at a estate sale or a yard sale, we buy it, bring it home, and tear it up so nobody can get it.
Yeah.
They are evil, pure evil, man. Straight line to hell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely agree with that. Do you feel like this caused the UFO to appear to you later on in life? Like maybe it opened up a doorway from another dimension?
Well, it could have. And I've thought that many times, and I've seen the movie The Exorcist. I came to Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior when I was 18, and that was 1973. And that week, my brother got tickets for The Exorcist, the movie, and we were going to go out. As my girlfriend at the time, and then him and his wife, and we went to see The Exorcist. That movie scared me so bad because I just come to the Lord. And all of a sudden I get hit with this major, major demonic feeling. And I mean, I was probably 2 years before I got over watching The Exorcist. It scared me so bad. And it's like it just opened up more portals, or the portal wider or something. And then, but then through the years, I started getting closer to the Lord, reading Bible study, and I went to Bible college and was going to be a preacher, and I just did all these different things to strengthen my spirit and soul. And I started not having those problems anymore, but it went away, but by the power of God. And it wasn't nothing else. It wasn't nothing I did. And he still takes care of me today. But then recently now, we got into those pictures that I sent you. That was just, you see at our cabin about 15 years ago, somebody broke into our cabin and stole our cameras, our trail cameras. We had the old film trail cameras, and they weren't very good. You couldn't hardly see anything on them. We just wanted to see what the deer looked like down there because we were new to that part. And they stole our cameras. I guess they got their picture taken on them probably, and they had to steal it. But they broke into our cabin and stole a bunch of just junk because we didn't leave anything good down there in case somebody would break in. But anyhow, we went and got a new camera. We didn't put any up until about 2 years ago. We put new ones up, the new digital fancy ones that take better pictures, and that's the ones I sent you were pictures of pictures, actually. And so when we first saw those, my wife we brought them home, and she went and put the chips in our computer at home, and we looked at these pictures, and we saw those big beams of light coming down, and I'm like, that is not right. My wife come running, and she goes, well, look at this. And I'm like, man, that is very strange. And then you seen the other picture, it looks like almost like a little flying saucer in the one of them. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's an oval object, kind of rough. Well, that wasn't oval. It's got rough edges, but it has a design to it. And it's like, what would that be? It looks like a drone or something like that. But where we're at, it's not a drone. There's trees over that. All kind of trees are in the woods. That's probably overnight. We weren't there when that picture was taken. But well, you saw what it looked like. It's kind of spooky looking. And then we got the other light beam shooting different angles, and one of them shows light bending. Did you notice that one?
Yeah, I did. And they're definitely strange. You can clearly see what it is. And I've seen similar on other paranormal shows or unexplained mystery shows. And I don't know what it is. They've talked about it being like, I don't know, possibly like UFO crafts or strange entities. What do you think it is?
I don't know. When I first saw the two beams, we thought it was some kind of. Once we thought it over, came home and kept looking at it all week, trying to figure something out. We thought it goes up out of the range of the picture, the camera. You know, is it coming down or is the beams going up? You know.
Yeah, absolutely. They are strange. And this is in the Mark Twain National Forest. Is that correct?
It's close to where we're at. It's not actually, I don't think it's actually in the forest.
Mm-hmm.
But,
yeah, there's a lot of strange things happening in the Madison County area, and there's just so many mysteries there, whether it's Dogman, Bigfoot, UFOs, and strange entities being seen all the time.
Yeah. We stay down there a lot, like especially deer season. We stay down there, and we stay down there more now because we are both retired, and we take our dog out. We got to take her out to go potty during the night. She's a Chihuahua, so we got to take her out a lot. She's got a little bitty bladder, and it's just kind of spooky going out in the night. But I've listened to watch a lot of your shows, and I see what a lot of the people say. Don't bother them, they won't bother you. Most of them seem to just, they got the night, you got the day. Don't bother them, they won't bother you, you know. And that's kind of how I feel about our place. We get a little spooked once we saw those lights. It's like, oh, what is this? We never have seen them when we're there. We did hear some snorting outside one of the windows one night. It's kind of freaky, but that could have been. We have feral hogs down there, and we've had them come on our property. And another time we were in the woods down there walking around trying out a new gun. So we went out and we were just walking the woods, piddling around. We wanted to try this new gun we just got fixed. And we heard some growling down in the woods. It's way down the valley. And we had one shell left on the shotgun that we had fixed. And said, let's get out of here. And it sounded like something growling down there. But, and then we were there Wednesday of last week. And we pulled in, and my wife heard something. She goes, that sounds like a deer over there. So she kind of got out as quiet as we could. She walked over to our pond, which is not very big, and didn't see anything. She goes, that sounds like a deer just ran off. And I go, maybe it did. So we went in and did some work we had to do, and we came out. And looked at went over to the pond. She was still inside, and there was feathers, turkey feathers, floating on the pond. They hadn't sunk underneath the water or nothing yet. And I go, something must have grabbed the turkey there. And I went and got her and brought her. And I just something grabbed the turkey here. Before I got her, though, I got a backstop here. I went down and looked at the feathers, and I saw the feathers. And I wasn't sure if they were turkey. I thought they were. I followed the trail of feathers behind this big boulder on their property, and something went, oh, like a big rock. Limb of a tree, big limb of a tree, or somebody's cutting salt, firewood, and they threw down a big piece. I didn't see anything next to me. I didn't see anything on the trail in front of me. That was just one big boom right next to my foot. I have no idea what it was. I got her. We walked down the woods and we found more feathers. And I didn't see anything. There wasn't a print there where something boom would have made a print. And it's almost like a boom trying to scare me away because that was his dinner or something, Whatever. I don't know what it was, but it freaked me out. My wife was, when she heard the boom, she was inside the cabin with the windows shut. I think the windows were shut. Maybe it was open. But anyhow, she heard the big boom and she thought a log fell outside. A good sized log. But I thought it was a big rock, is what it felt like to me. Like a foot across rock,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that could have been a Bigfoot activity, perhaps.
Yeah, and I hear you guys always talking about throwing rocks at people and stuff like that. I wouldn't have thought of that, but it made me look and see that I didn't see any prints. It made me look for something, which I might have not have done before.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said before, those things are out there. And Fredericktown also has a lot of missing people reports and a lot of strange ones as well. So I wonder if it's connected with the UFOs or the cryptid creatures. But you definitely have to be careful when you're out there all alone, hunting in the woods, camping, and you just never know what could happen.
Yeah. What do you think they are?
I have many theories. When it comes to Bigfoot or UFOs, the Sasquatch, they could be an ancient primate species, a hominid, something from the days of the Nephilim and the giants, or some type of interdimensional creature that's coming here from another planet. There's a lot of theories that I'm open to, but it's hard to say. Since I'm a Christian, I kind of believe that it's something to do with the days of the Nephilim before or during Noah's time. And that's kind of what I'm thinking, because there's a lot of ancient civilizations out there that just don't have an explanation. Science can't explain it, and it's just hard to reproduce even with today's technology. So it does seem like there were technological beings here on this planet, and we see that all the time depicted with these ancient civilizations. So that's what I'm thinking. It's something before the flood, and I don't think anyone else has a better explanation.
And then the Genesis 6 chapter we're talking about, when it says, and there were giants in the land then, and there were giants in the land afterwards. And I still believe those are the Nephilim survived the flood, possibly because of their spiritual nature also.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm thinking. And during the end times, it's supposed to be like the days of Noah. And that's kind of what we're seeing with all these UFOs, cryptid creatures, and unexplained phenomenon. Yeah.
Exactly. We're seeing those things come back again. Mm-hmm. If they ever were gone, maybe it's because we have more equipment and stuff to study them now. But I think it's because it's closer to the end of time, and the evil one's very mad that he's lost the game. The devil, and he's doing everything he can do, throw stuff out to get people away from him, away from the Lord.
Absolutely.
He thinks he's going to win the battle, but he knows he ain't. He knows the end of the book.
Yeah, it's going to seem like he's winning until Jesus comes back.
Yeah. So, let me see, where were we now? we went down to Eminence last week. I think I told you on the phone. We went down to Eminence and went to have you ever been to the Angelina conservation area? I think it's called Angeline or Angelino.
I'm not sure, but I've been to Eminence. I've been to Sinking Creek.
Sinking Creek?
Mm-hmm.
Is that where the sunken thing is? Mines?
I'm not really sure.
Cave.
I went there years ago, and it's just huge woods. I went there with an old girlfriend that I had and her family, and we went camping at a creek, and it was a beautiful area. That's all I remember.
Yeah. Okay. We went to this place called the Sunken. It's an old cave that's caved down, and they call it the Sunklands. I think it is Sunklands.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's Missouri's biggest conservation area.
Really, that's big. We drove a long ways, and we couldn't find it. There's no signs up. That's like they just tell you kind of where it is. GPS wasn't working right, or something we couldn't figure out. So anyhow, we found one house, and we stopped there to ask for directions. And he told us, but it seemed like a long way away. But we tried it, and we went down to try to get there. And we have 4-wheel drive. We needed 4-wheel drive. It was a rough road at a certain point. But we got kind of creeped out down there, and me and my wife were looking at each other and just started getting kind of like something's watching us type feeling, you know. We were no longer looking at the beauty of the Ozarks. We were looking at what is looking at us, you know. And so she's like, I think we better turn around and get out of here. So I think I agree with you. So we turned around and left. And it's like, just, something's telling me get out of here.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was called Angeline, I think.
Mm-hmm.
You already said it. It was one of the big ones. Yeah. So anyhow, we're going to continue going down there and staying at our cabin. It's like we don't want to be afraid to be down there, you know?
Yeah, I completely understand.
I used to just be afraid of, bad people and maybe bears and stuff like that. But I'm not even that afraid of bears, They don't. But these other things are maybe bigger than bears.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It doesn't seem like they are trying to get us out of there. It's almost like you get the feeling if there is something there, it's kind of like letting us stay because maybe the next people might be worse, You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely understand that. And it almost reminds me of like paranormal activity. Like if you've experienced that in your life, like where you hear things thumping in the house or things shuffling around or just the presence of something. With Bigfoot activity, it's like you hear something in the woods, like something's charging at you and it just stops, or you hear this loud thump or a knock and you go and look and there's nothing there. It almost makes me feel like, I don't know, like there's spirits in the woods or it's something ancient. And I don't know. That's just my take on it. It's just strange.
Yeah. And we only got our take, so I mean, basically, but we got good takes, though, because we're trying to put the Bible in there with it. And I believe that's the main link to what's happening.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a strange experience at my friend's house in Fredericktown in the Mark Twain National Forest, and we were out there looking for Bigfoot. I talk about these stories all the time, but we were sitting out there behind his house waiting for Sasquatch to show up, because every now and then they would show up in his backyard in the wood line, and we were doing that for months, just waiting for them. And I looked over at my friend Bill. I was like, I got to tell you something. I've been experiencing a lot of UFO activity at my house, and it's just weird. He's like, really? I said, yeah. And I kid you not, we look up into the night sky and we see hundreds and hundreds of lights, and it was just the strangest thing. It was definitely not Starlink. Like I think it was UFOs. It seemed like they were coming out of nowhere, moving through the sky, and then going back into nowhere. Like they just appear out of nowhere and just disappear. It almost looked like they were coming out of a hole and then going into another hole in the sky.
Oh,
Yeah, it was just strange though, because as soon as I started talking about it, it showed up. I don't know what to
As
think
soon
about
as you start, yeah,
it. Hmm.
well, that was wild. Yeah, I've been down there all my life. My family came from that area. But I always lived in St. Louis, but we always had family trips down there. And I was always looking for stuff as a kid. I walked down the roads by myself and everything. The scary ones, nothing ever happened. I never thought anything about it.
It's a spooky area though. There's a ton of forest, a lot of pine trees. And when you drive through Fredericktown, there's just granite everywhere, pink granite all over
Oh,
the
yeah.
place, and a lot of
Yeah.
waterways. And then they say, like the UFOs, cryptid activity, or missing people, there's always like granite, moving water, and pine trees.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And that's when these things about these lights and our on my property. It's like it's right over our pond. And the pond's as big as a round swimming pool. You think we couldn't get it as big as we wanted to because the boulder was in the bottom of it when the guy was digging in. He said, if I take the boulder out, it's going to leak. So we just let him leave it. And we just have a wildlife pond instead of what we wanted. But that's where these lights are. It's over the pond. It's making me think, and it's like a mountaintop there. Is there like underground something underneath this just lives under there, like creatures, flying saucer, aliens from another dimension, whatever they're from? Are they under there? Is this light coming up from there, going up? Is it coming from the sky going down? You can't see the top and the bottom of it in those photographs. And when it bent light on one of the pictures, it shows the beam coming through, and it bends. I always thought you couldn't bend the light. It was one of like the rules or laws. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're definitely strange, and you did a good job at capturing the strange activity on the trail cameras. I was really impressed, and it makes you wonder if there's something going on underneath the ground and like in the sky above. They say as above, so below, and I feel like that's true, and I definitely feel like there's a giant underground base underneath Fredericktown and many other areas of Missouri, and I feel like that's the reason why there's so much activity happening. And it reminds me of like Skinwalker Ranch. And on that show, they'd say, for some reason, when we start digging, things start happening.
Yeah. And yeah, and like just what I saw was probably 6 or 7 over that field, and then the one we stood under, that's 6 or 7 of them right there, that we could see.
Yeah.
There's no telling how many under that. And um, I can't think of what I was going to say now. But anyhow, that's just freaky to know that. Yeah, and back. Did you hear? It's something that was 1946 that there was a UFO thing like out in Roswell, right down by Cape Girardeau.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard that?
Yeah, I've heard of the UFO that crashed in Cape Girardeau, and there's another one that crashed in St. James, Missouri.
Yeah, I just heard about that one not too long ago, and it was almost like the similar thing as Roswell, except a couple years before it.
Yeah, and
Right here.
yeah, Cape Girardeau's not that far away. Another place is in Piedmont at Clearwater Lake. There were a
Yes.
ton of UFO reports, and people were saying that the UFOs were coming out of the lake. And I think on one occasion, over 500 people called the police department saying that they witnessed a UFO
Yeah.
coming out of Clearwater Lake.
Right. We this is back in the 70s, so it was about 71 or so. I gathered a group of friends and girlfriends, boyfriends. We all hopped in the car. I go, let's go see the flying saucers. And I didn't get off work. I worked at a Shell station, and I didn't get off work till like 10 o'clock. I had to lock up the building and stuff. And we took out like 10 from St. Louis to go to Piedmont to see what we could see. And that was probably 1970, around that area time. We didn't see nothing. My oldest brother, went down there. He says he did, but he's dead now. So I can't ask him anymore. But I didn't see anything. We drove all over Piedmont area in my car and stopped different places and tried to see what we could see. We went all the way up to the lake up by the dam, and didn't see anything done. But there was reports everywhere. It was on the radio all the time. And along with Momo, Missouri Monster was on the radio all the time during the early 70s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I would look for him on my way to work in the mornings because the radio station was having Momo's things where you could call in if you Momo sightings. They'd have you call in, let you know where you saw him, and it was all over the place in St. Charles. And so these things been around for a long time, and I kind of lived through the Momo thing. You're not quite that old, though, I don't think.
Yeah, I was born in the 90s, so when you had your UFO encounter, I was just a little baby.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So when I seen that saucer stood under that saucer, you might not have been alive yet. But...
Yeah. And you're right about the Momo, and these things aren't just in the Mark Twain or in the Ozarks. They're all over the place in Missouri, Illinois, and all over North America. It's definitely strange, and there's not just one hot spot or a certain area where you can see Bigfoot, but there's just many different areas that are like Skinwalker Ranch. Do you think that it's possible this activity may have something to do with like the occult? My friend Adam, who lives near that area, he has his own channel, and he's seen a lot of things as far as like red eyes, and his family they've seen cryptid creatures and just strange things they can't explain. They said in Fredericktown, late at night in the Mark Twain forest, there'd be people out there with like candles, and I'm not sure if they're wearing robes, but I think I remember him saying they were wearing like black robes, but they'd go out there and do like, I don't know, witchcraft stuff or occult gatherings. Yeah. And it's kind of strange because I've heard that from multiple people.
When I was a kid, we had a family reunion out at silver mines, and I was probably 8 or 10, I guess. But we had them through the years, so I'm not sure what year it was. But they would talk about the headless horseman would come riding through. They told us that one night. We had our party out there, family get together, and it got real dark, and everybody was going to leave, and we had to drive from Silver Mines to Fredericktown. But I was scared to death when we get out there because everybody had been talking. Well, the headless horseman's seen out here all the time. So I don't know. I'm just telling you what I heard. So I never did see it.
Yeah, it's a possibility. You just never know. And a lot of the folklore has truth to it as far as what people have seen at one point in their life. And yeah, Silver Mines, that's a strange area, and people have seen the red eyes down there. It's definitely a spooky area, especially at nighttime. I wouldn't want to be caught there at night.
Yeah. And my grandfather, who lived in Fredericktown, he was a carpenter, and he built houses for people and stuff, drew out the blueprints, everything. He would find water for the houses by divining rods. You heard of those?
No, I haven't.
They're like a giant wishbone. You get them out of any tree. It's almost like a fork. It comes up straight and then goes off almost like a Y at the top. You hold the two ends of it, and then the straight part you put like a pointer, and you hold the two parts, the two sides, and as you walk, when you get to where there's water, it will pull down on you, just like a Ouija board. My grandpa used to use that, and a lot of the people down in the country I would hear about. They're divining today. They got to go out and they're building a new house. They got to go divining, look for water. My grandfather took us in the back when I was probably 10, something like that, and showed us, his boys, they go, Dad, show us how to use the divining rod. He showed us how to use the divining rod in the backyard in Fredericktown. And I never did do it. My mom said, don't do that. Right, that was not good. My mom's a Christian lady. She said, don't do that. I always heard that's bad. So I never messed with it. And but that's what I'm just telling you what He told us and showed us. And if anybody's out there listening to this, don't use the divining rod either. It's next to a Ouija board. It will pull you because there's a spirit trying to lie to you. Okay, so.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you ever heard of the Slocum Hollow Legacy by Michael Helm?
What was the name of it?
The book is called The Slocum Hollow Legacy. I did a video on it and an interview with the last surviving family member. Yeah, it was a family from Fredericktown, and they were experiencing Bigfoot activity in the earlier 1900s. And yeah, they claimed these things would have come up to their house through the chicken coop, and there were several sightings. I made a video on it, though, so I'll send you a link to it so you can check it out.
Yeah, okay. That'd be cool. I do not know of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's definitely strange. And where all that happened to that family was where I was doing Bigfoot research. Remember when I said I looked up and saw the UFOs when I was telling my friend about it? That's right down the road from that.
Wow. You seen the UFOs there?
Yeah, I've seen the UFOs in Fredericktown when I was...
You talking about... Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, it was that story I was telling you when we were out there doing Bigfoot research in the Mark Twain National Forest, and I told my friend that I've been seeing UFOs in Crawford County north of there, and then we looked up, and there they all were.
Wow. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's definitely strange. Is there anything else you can think of? Any other strange experiences? Any questions that you have for me?
Can't think of any right now. But
Okay.
I certainly appreciate you letting me talk, interview me. I hope in some way it helps somebody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let them know there's other people that's got the same things. And
yeah, I would almost bet someone else seen that UFO in the early 90s, and they had to have, or maybe they'd been seeing them for quite some time. But it's definitely strange. It makes you wonder what's happening, especially with the cryptid phenomenon, whether it's connected with UFOs or not. To me, it's strange that this stuff is happening in Bigfoot hotspot areas.
Yeah. Yeah. It seems like Missouri is kind of a hot spot for a lot of things.
It really is, and a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah. Eminence had a big Sasquatch, a model Sasquatch going down road 19, is it? The main drag down Eminence. But they had a big model Sasquatch on the side of the road. I thought that was kind of cute. I got some pictures of it.
Yeah.
And one at a campground. So, yeah.
Yeah. In Greenville, Missouri, south of Fredericktown, at a coffee shop, they got a giant Sasquatch, a giant wooden Sasquatch statue of Bigfoot. And there's been stuff that's happened there.
Well, we're going down to Greenville, I think, this week to that their 4th of July party.
Uh-huh. Yeah. When you make a left off of 67, go past the little gas station there, you'll see a coffee shop. You can't miss the Bigfoot. It's like 7 foot tall.
Yeah. I'll be looking for it if I get to go.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Rick. Well, I appreciate your time. It really means a lot to me. And if you have any other photos you'd like to share, feel free to share them with me. And yeah, if you run into anything else in the future, definitely contact me. Okay.
Okay. I got one last thing to say for anybody who listens to this. Mm-hmm. Turn to Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, and you won't have to worry so much about these things. He is the ruler, and He is the King, and He owns this world. He is God. All right, that's all I got to say.
Amen to that, and I agree. All right, Rick, I'm going to let you go for now, and thank you so much for making the report. It really means a lot, and hopefully someone else from the same area speaks up about their encounters and experiences.
All right. All right, you have a great one now.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you.
Yeah, keep in touch.
Okay, bye.
Mm-hmm. Bye. All right, thank you, Rick, for taking the time to send me photos that you had developed from Walmart. And I know that took a lot of work. You had to get them off your trail cameras. You contacted me, you got them developed, and you sent them to my address. So it really means a lot to me. And it's a lot more personal when you have these photos in your hand rather than them being emailed to you, because you don't know where they came from offline. So yeah, thank you guys. Thank you, Rick. Be sure to thank Rick in the comments, okay? Appreciate it. All right, so I'll share with you guys some of the photos that Rick shared with me, and right here are the photos. This is off his muddy trail camera. I don't know if it's focused in, but you can see like the screw cork phenomenon here. I'm not really sure what that is. Maybe it's a flying squirrel, maybe it's a moth, maybe it's something paranormal. I'm not really sure, but I'll try to show these photos the best I can. It's kind of hard to get it in frame without having a glare on it, but there you can see the deer. There seems to be something up there. I'm not really sure what's in that photo. Can't really tell because I'm not looking at it. I'm just trying to show you guys on camera. And there's the, okay, so right here you can tell he's pointed out something in the sky or in the air. I get these a lot on my trail cameras. I have a trail camera down there in the killing fields, and we often see things like that, and the deer are reacting to these to the phenomenon, like they're looking in the same direction where these things are. So I feel like if it was a bug, they wouldn't be so concerned about it. Okay, right here it says none. There's nothing there. Then all of a sudden you can see this little light. Not really sure. There's something. Again, this is at his cabin in Fredericktown, Missouri, which that place is definitely spooky. And then this one says all gone. There's nothing there. This one's pretty strange. Like, you can see like these beams. Not really sure what that is or what's going on there. Maybe it's rain. Maybe it's a spider web, or it's something paranormal. Hey, there's a lot going on out there, so it very well could be, and I'm not discounting anything. Here in this photo, it's all gone. Here, he's pointing out those beams again. Oh man, it's really hard to tell because you're getting a picture of a picture. But there they are. There's the beam again. Maybe it's rain. I'm not really sure. You guys tell me down in the comments. That's kind of weird because that one has a curve to it. Not really sure what's going on there. It's kind of strange. There it is again. Definitely unusual. Maybe this is something specific to the muddy trail camera. Like maybe it's a glitch. He's got them all labeled. You can see the beams. I'll try to move around the photo so you guys can see a little better. Again, it's hard to tell because I'm filming a photograph and these pictures have this glossy look to them, but you can definitely see this one. See that beam? Maybe the shutter speed is really slow on the camera and it's picking up like this water droplet. Or there's like a UFO above and we're seeing the lights coming down and these things are picking up the deer. Hey, anything's possible, right? Especially when we're talking about strange activity, especially in Fredericktown, Missouri, an area known for strange activity. Okay, here we go. It says number 1. I don't think I got these photos in order, but I don't think it matters. Okay, there we go. Doesn't look like a blurry photo. I feel like if it was like a flying squirrel or a moth, like you would see that. I've seen this shown on other shows in the past, and people have pointed it out. I've seen it on my trail cameras, and I just personally, I can't figure out what it is. And the mystery continues, right? That's what we're here for. We're all here to figure out what's going on. I have a few more envelopes that he sent, so bear with me. Here's another one. See that? Something above the deer. This one's weird because you can see these beams of light or whatever it may be, and they're not just going down, but they're also crisscrossing. I feel like rain would be blowing with the wind in one direction and not multiple directions, but hey, Again, anything's possible. We're keeping an open mind here to any possibilities, whether it's natural phenomenon or strange, unexplained activity. Look at that. That's kind of weird. There's definitely something strange going on at his cabin, and he was talking about the thumps, the sounds, the feathers. I mean, it's definitely a Bigfoot hotspot. I don't know why there's so much Bigfoot and UFO activity in Fredericktown. There's definitely something weird going on. Maybe underground, maybe in another parallel universe, or it just happens to be a good spot in the Mark Twain where these things have a lot of food sources. But when it comes to the supernatural, there's no explanation, at least no scientific explanation that people want to deep dive into. But yeah, this is the last photo and just another beam of light. I appreciate you guys for watching. Thank you for your patience, and if you guys can, like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below, and if you got some strange things going on in Fredericktown, definitely let me know. And for all you hunters out there, hikers, campers, fishermen, people that just enjoy the outdoors, definitely be careful, because there are things in those woods that science cannot explain, and only God knows what's roaming in those forests. Thank you guys. That was Rick's remarkable journey through UFO sightings, paranormal experiences, and unexplained activity in the forests of Fredericktown, Missouri. His story reminds us that sometimes the mysteries of the unknown linger closer than we realize, passed down through generations of encounters. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe to Sasquatch Theory, leave a comment, and share it with others who love the unexplained. Until the next time, keep your eyes to the skies and your ears open in the woods. You never know what might be watching.